Hi everyone, I'm Mark from Travel Shorts, and in this video I'm going to be spending the weekend in Munich, Germany. But the first thing I need to do is go downstairs and get my breakfast. So last night I stayed here at the Shore Hotel by Best Western. It's right opposite the train station, so it's really convenient for transport links. Well, I've finished my breakfast. It's now time to go and explore the city. So my first plan for this morning is I'm going to walk from my hotel to the Marienplatz area. It's about a 20-minute walk. When I get there, I'm going to do a free walking tour from Guru Walks. I'm just watching while I cross the road, got to be safe. If you're a regular viewer to my channel, you know that I use Guru Walk for my free walking tours around the world. They do some really good tours. Last one was just in Dublin a couple of weeks ago. The previous one to that was in Lithuania just a few weeks before that. I've got high hopes for this one. It's got really good reviews online. I'll tell you more about it just as we're approaching Marienplatz. But just for reference as well, my hotel, the Shore Hotel by Best Western, is right opposite the Hubbahnhof, the main train station here in Munich. So it's got really convenient transport links. Once I've walked away from the train station area, I'm already starting to go past some really nice looking buildings. Now I'm going to assume that this area here in the summer is a big fountain, but not in winter. So this area under those big gates, it looks like a big pedestrianised street. We've now made it to the old town, and I can see Frankenkirche, which is translated to Ladies' Church, over in the distance. You can see it over by there, and we will be getting a closer look at that very shortly. In fact, later in the day, I'm probably even going inside there. For all my British viewers, let me know down in the comments, do we still have C&A in the UK? Because I haven't seen it for decades. I used to go there when I was a kid to buy my skiing outfits before I used to go skiing, but haven't seen it in a long time. So let me know down below if we still have C&A in the UK. So like I said earlier, the first thing I'm going to do today is a free walking tour via Guru Walks. Tour lasts about 2.5 hours. It's going to take us all around the old town. Hopefully it's going to be really interesting. And like I said, it is a free tour. You don't have to pay anything up front, but if the tour guide is really good and does a good job, they do expect a tip at the end. I roughly tip around 15 to 20 euros. If they're an exceptional guide, I go above that. If you are interested in the tour that I'm going to be going on today, I will leave a link down in the description down below. And also you can scan that QR code there to go directly to Guru Walks website to look for more information and to book onto the tour. Like I said, it is totally free, doesn't cost you anything, but you just give a little bit of a tip at the end. Looks like I'm approaching Marienplatz, which is where I'm going to be starting the tour this morning. I'm a little bit early, so before I go to the meeting point for the tour, I am going to just walk around for a little bit. And there's a really good view of Frankenkirche between those two buildings there. So according to my phone, it is currently -1 degrees here in Munich today, so it is a bit chilly. I have got my woolly hat in my pocket. I might break that out a little bit later, not sure yet. And as you can see, we're walking into Marienplatz area here. That's the old Rathaus, which means town hall. I think that's been in there since the late 1800s. And if you can see up there, that's called the Glockenspiel clock. Twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, depending on the season, that comes out. It's a mechanical clock that plays a little bit of music and tells a story. I'm not sure if I'm going to be here when it's going on today, which would be a shame. The winter hours, I think, are 11 and 12 o'clock. So it just depends where this walking tour is going to be at 11 and 12 o'clock to get to see if I'm going to see it today. So there's a closer look at the Glockenspiel clock. Like I said, I really hope I'll be here during the time that it's actually going to be going later on in the morning. Now we just take a quick look around what else is here in Marienplatz. Right at the end over there, you got a really nice ornate building. Not sure what it's called yet. I guess I'm going to find out later. Go around this way. Restaurant. This big statue in the center. And there's the Rathaus again. And I believe that there, that fountain, I think it translates to fish fountain, is where I'm going to be meeting my guide this morning. And if you didn't want to walk to Marienplatz like I just did, you can always get the U-Bahn because the station is right in the center of Marienplatz, as you can see. Looks like our guide's just arrived, so I'm going to go back there and check in. So I've just checked in and I'm just going to wait till 11:15 when the tour officially starts.
My name is Brett. Everyone, you all can wave and say hi, Brett.
Hi, Brett.
Everybody, thank you. Welcome. So, welcome to the city, everybody. I'll kind of be taking you around a little bit on this chilly day here. But the main event and what you'll watch is a reenactment of the jousting competition that took place during that royal wedding. It took place on the square here. You will see a Bavarian knight wearing the white and blue of Bavaria. He will be facing off against a Lotigra knights. My lips are sealed on who wins. You all just have to watch with bated breath. I know the anticipation is killing you all, so that's the first part of the show. The second part, at the bottom below, are some men who are known as Coopers, and they will be doing what's known as the Cooper's dance for you all. Does anyone know what a Cooper is? Very good. Barrel making, of course. According to legend, 1517, Munich's being devastated by the plague during this time. That means people here are very afraid to leave their homes. Why? Because medicine is very bad during this time. And people believe that the reason people are getting sick outside, there is an invisible dragon flying around outdoors. It's called a Lindworm. People are frightened that the Lindworm, it would come and it would breathe on you. And if the dragon would breathe on you, it would make you sick. So hashtag stay at home situation. Nobody is going outside. But if no one is going outside, no one is visiting taverns. And if no one is visiting taverns, well, no one's drinking beer and wine. This whose business model is suffering as a result of the lockdowns. How do you scare off a disease-spreading dragon? Well, by using the power of dance, of course. So this is what they did. They went outside, they did this massive procession and parade to scare off the dragon. More importantly, spread good cheer around town, convince people to come outside. Coincidentally, they did the dance. The plague did not return the next year. So they thought, oh my God, it worked. And they kept doing the dance, and they still do. Today, every 7 years, the Coopers dance again. This is why the plague has never returned to Munich, everybody. I'll shut up for now. Enjoy the show. Yeah. And the Lions Tower, there's actually one of the oldest, fully intact structures that's still standing here in the city of Munich. So a lot of the origins believed from that to come from around the 14th century itself. Okay, it's one of the few kind of lucky old things here in Munich, not destroyed during any of those air raids I spoke about earlier. And this is sort of why they've left it there and then built the two most modern looking buildings in the entire city on each side. Yeah, that way it really sticks out to us here.
Looks like we're going through a food market now. So Brett just explained that this is the local farmers market. You can get fresh produce, snacks, drinks, cheeses, hams, everything. And the area is huge. He said it's 22,000 square meters inside.
before we go inside. I do want you to notice we're on like a little incline at the moment. Okay, so we're hiking what's known as Peter's Day. This place is significant because it's where one of the very earliest structures located in Munich was initially located. Excuse me. There used to be an 8th century monastery that stood atop this hill. Monastery filled with monks who I'm going to tell you about inside of the church.
Oh, cheers. Thank you.
Place was one of the earliest structures around here, but this place was filled with some monks inside, and this is actually how a lot of linguists, most historians believe the city of Munich would have gotten its namesake. Everybody. So Munich in German, you'll see this word all around town. It's from Old German. They believe can actually be translated as by the monks. Okay, these were the first known people to inhabit much of this area. So oftentimes people who are writing about this place, referring to it, would say, oh, it's the place that's by the monks of the monks. And this is how the city really went on to develop its name. So it's why while you're here in town, you're very likely to probably not see like actual monks. You will see a lot of symbols for monks. It is approximately 800 years old. However, on average, every 200 years, you could say, it does get destroyed again. Okay, almost every time is a fire. Most recently, some bombs during the Second World War. What we're standing inside of right now is the 7th reconstruction of this church. So it has been through quite a bit. Okay. If you look at the exterior too, when we go back out, you'll be able to kind of look at it. You'll see a lot of different building materials, architectural styles, things happening. Each time, a portion of it gets destroyed. The Duke that's in charge, no problem, we'll rebuild it. We're going to expand it though and implement this cool new style that's more fashionable. Use whatever building materials kind of easiest for us to obtain at this period as well. So it's kind of a Frankenstein outside, but interior, massive contrast. Obviously, I think a lot of people don't expect to kind of see it be so glamorous when they come inside of here. This is why it is so ornate. It is meant to strike your eye in a quite kind of crazy manner, I would say. So this crazy lady over here did not tell. This is an actual human body. Everybody. Wow. Someone whose name was Saint Memdicia. This is the patron saint of spinsters. Okay. If you don't know what a spinster is, it's like an older woman that gets married, and they have the patron saint right here. Okay. Now, this body is believed to be from around the year 200 AD. Actually, it's extremely old, incredibly well preserved, but very Baroque in its style, as you will notice. This sort of bedazzled red. My favorite is the inside glass eyeballs. Thanks. If you look at the tall arched window here, and then you look up in the bricks, about 2 o'clock, you should be able to see kind of a black, like a tennis ball sized ball. Looking out at the bricks there. Does anyone see that? Yeah. That is a cannonball, everybody, stuck in the side of the church from the Napoleonic Wars. Over the course of the Battle of Hohenlinden in 1800, one of those Austrian cannonballs, it ended up striking the church right here. But when it hit the church, it didn't go through, bounce off, nothing like that. Just lodged itself right into where it had struck. So the battle ceased. They found it. They're like, that's kind of cool. We're going to leave that there. And it's pretty much been there since. We're going to take a quick break, everybody. It's a good place for a break, actually. Just quick 10 minutes here. Yeah? Decent place. You can try to warm up a little.
We are just taking a 10-minute break in the Hofbräu house. As you can see, I've just walked through. It's really, really busy. I do plan on coming here later in the day to get myself a traditional Bavarian beer and a pretzel. Just wondering where I'll sit when I do come back.
This is the Hofbräu House, if you're not aware. It's like the most famous beer hall in the world here. So that is why it's so see. Obviously, it's a very, very fun place. A lot of people like to hang out here and, have a beer or five in general. So, yeah, in one cup. All at once, just in one gulp, actually. So that's all you can get it down. I guess, like, the number one thing you really should know about beer in Munich and Bavaria, everybody, is that this place invented a law. Okay, if you're not aware, Germans love rules, Germans love regulations. And there's a very old, very, very strict law that was actually written here in Munich. You will literally hear this word, this law in songs. You will see it exactly. You'll see it written on signs everywhere you go. This word is simply very good. The Reinheitsgebot, everybody. This is honestly, it's essentially a beer purity law. And you can really kind of think of this as just the most important thing to understand about beer. What the law has really ended up stipulating, folks, is that for most of this region's history, you are allowed to use malt, hops, water, and yeast to produce your beer here. What does this mean for you all today? Well, it's that word again, tradition. When it comes to just styles of beer, you're going to be finding while you're here in town. Throughout Bavaria, this place it's really what they got famous for here, okay? People love the Weissbier to begin with. They ended up holding a monopoly on the sale of Bohemian Weissbier, of just Weissbier and Dunkles the first 200 years of its existence. So it's kind of why this place became so famous. The beer hall we're in has been here, located on this square since 1618, okay? But apart from that, open to the public in 1828, serving as a mecca for beer drinkers since that time, okay? You don't need reservations, everybody. It's kind of weird, actually. It's traditional beer hall culture. Long tables everywhere. You walk up to a table. You ask if you can sit down next to some people. They'll say yes, hopefully. They'll sit down. It might be a little awkward. You chug a liter of beer, table full of best new friends by the end of the day. So that's what I like about the place. At the very least, you come here, you take a picture with the giant beer, and you check it off the list. You get to say, I had a beer at the most famous beer hall in the world.
I think those archways I just walked through was a filming location in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I'll put down below if it actually was when I do a bit of research.
Famous for having the highest retailing apartments of any street in Germany on it. Last I checked, 1 square meter of an apartment on the street on average, about 16,000 euro per square meter. I live right here, as you can see. I'm just kidding. Munich itself, the city celebrates its history. June 14th, 1158. It's when the first document mentioned the city. Was resolving a dispute between a few parties over a toll bridge situation. Basically, this man named Henry the Lion was gifted this duchy of Bavaria. He had helped his cousin, Frederick Barbarossa, become the Holy Roman Emperor. Got this duchy, didn't like it very much. No reason to like it. It was a useless piece of real estate at the time. He was a bit of a businessman. He wanted to develop what was known at the time as white gold to begin sort of being transported through this new region he had acquired, okay? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? White gold, salt, extremely precious resource, okay? Oftentimes, people could mine this stuff outside of Salzburg.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And there was a really massive medieval trading post in a place north from here called Augsburg, and there was no way for traders to get across the Isar River part for one toll bridge owned by a prince bishop in a place north from here, a place called Freising. And so Henry the Lion essentially did what I think any of us would do. He marched his army over to that toll bridge and he burned it to the ground. And then he built his own toll bridge on his own Bavarian duchy, and traders would then be forced to actually cross through his duchy in order to get to Augsburg. And that's exactly what happened. Yeah. It made the Prince Bishop very upset. The document that mentioned the city, it ended up resolving this dispute, okay? Giving a third of the new profits to the Prince Bishop to sort of put the dispute to bed. But Henry the Lion did not last much longer. He ended up being deposed in 1180, was replaced by a man by the name of Otto. the Wittelsbach family. This would essentially be the ruling family in Bavaria all the way up to the dissolution of the monarchy in 1918. So for the vast majority of Bavaria's history, one ruling family here. Bavaria was first a duchy, so leaders here were known as dukes early on, but then in the middle part of the 17th century, after what's known as the 30 Years' War, this place had its status raised into an electorate. And from then on, the leaders here became one of the 7 prince-elects. So that was actually that man out there's very first title, folks. Prince-elect Max Joseph. And you see the square is named after as well, okay? But that man had a second title, the more important one, King Maximilian I, first king of Bavaria. So this place was most commonly used as a winter estate by the royal Bavarian family. Came as kind of like a tiny fortress here early on, from about the 14th century. But as the wealth of the city increased early on as a result of the salt trade route passing through, the city had accrued a massive explosion in early wealth and development, population growth. By the mid-16th century, they began having so much money, they were throwing 2-week-long weddings here. So Duke Wilhelm V actually kind of started something here. He took a lot of that private or public wealth from the salt trade route, began privatizing a lot of it for his own use, and poured a lot of money into this place. And every generation after him would follow suit. This place started as a tiny fortress, expanded through the centuries into this massive quarter the way you'll find it. All right? The modern day, it's a museum, entrance here. If you have time, come here. It's fantastic. Perfect sort of place to hang out for a day. Really, really impressive collection. And it is the largest city palace in Germany. So you will absolutely get your money's worth here. But it's really fantastic. I highly recommend it. Welcome to this square. It's called Odeonsplatz, everybody. This is essentially the northern part of the old town. So up until like 1795, you can kind of think of this place as the soft northern border of what is technically considered Munich. It used to be a massive medieval wall ran around the entire old town, and that the wall had many gates leading out of the city in different directions. So it used to be where the northern gate of Munich was. There's no gate here anymore. It was ostensibly replaced by what's known as the Field Marshal's Hall over here, folks, but as you can probably tell, that is a tarp. I will point out a little bit more of the residence right here. This is still the residence, folks. We're like walking next to it still. It's one of the clearest examples of that painted-on style we've been speaking about today here as well. This thing is a weird mishmash, though, because this is actually one of the structures that was the earliest to have the painted-on sort of style that we spoke about. So there's large sections of this that were actually painted on many centuries before the city. But also, because it's massive, huge sections were destroyed, reconstituted, and then painted on in the post-war too. So it's a weird mishmash of things. The main thing on this square, though, I would say, is this church over here. You probably didn't even notice it. It's like camouflaged into the city, basically. But it's what's known as the Theatinerkirche. The church is kind of viewed here as like one of the premier 17th century structures here in town, famous for going on to sort of inspire the Southern Baroque architectural style I've been speaking about. Okay? Construction for this church began in 1663. That's 1 year after the prince-elect's wife. She had for many years leading up to that date had actually struggled to produce a male heir to continue the Wittelsbach family line. She finally did so. And the prince-elect was so elated, so in love with his wife, ordered the construction of a church that next year in celebration. Finished in 1690, perpetually under construction since then, okay? You'll also notice the paint on there being a little banana-y. Yeah. That's a mistake. They did not mean to paint it this brightly. They kind of meant more for that, because that's what the actual color was on here. The post-war, they decided to apply a fresh new coat of paint, but technically mixed the paint incorrectly. I mean, it's really expensive to redo as well, so they just kept it like that in the end. It's really funny, but I kind of liked it. Adds a little flair. You will not find anything else, though, in this color palette. And the interior is beautiful. It is one of my favorite churches in the city. Definitely recommend you go inside and have a look, but you're freezing. I see the light leaving your eyes. It's over. You're done, everybody. Congratulations. You ran the marathon it is to hang out with me today. So you're all finished, folks. Thanks for coming out. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves, learned something as well.
So I've just finished my tour. Gret was our guide today, and it was really, really good. He was really informative. He was an American who moved to Munich back in 2016. He's been living here ever since, had a great knowledge of the history of Bavaria, all the locations we went to. Really highly recommend coming on this tour. Like I mentioned before the start of the tour, I booked this via Guru Walks. It was a totally free walking tour with them. I just paid a tip to Brett at the end. I think they're still over there talking now. If you do want to go on this tour, please check out the link down below in the description, or again, you can just scan the QR code on the screen here and I'll take you directly to Guru Walks' website where you'll be able to book onto the tour. Right, it's time to start exploring the city by myself now. And I think first thing I'm going to do is go into this church right by here. I don't know what that procession's for, but I could hear the music when I was in the church. So I thought I'd better just come out and take a look and see what it was about. So I'm in the center of Odeonplatz here in Munich. That was the church that I just went into there. The residence is just behind me here. That's where we went into the grounds of on the tour. And then we've got that building there, which I can't remember the name of, unfortunately, but it's currently doing some renovation work, so you can see the tarp outside it. Right, I think I might go into the residence. That was one of my plans to do today. There is a fee to go inside there. I'm not sure what it is, but we'll see what it is when we go in. I've just looked at Google Maps, and that building behind me is called Fledhernhalle. So it must be something hall. During this video as well, I understand I'm going to mispronounce so many words, so apologies for that. So these are the ticket prices. Looks like the majority are €10 to go in. Or you can get combination tickets as well. But I am going to do one of those there. I'm not sure which one yet. So I'm going to go for the residence ticket, which they recommend takes between 2 to 3 hours. I haven't got that much time because I still want to do a number of things today. I'm going to try and rush through it in about an hour and a half. And it looks like it costs €10 to do it. So I've just got my entry ticket and that was €10. Whenever you look online for the residence, or you look in brochures or even the promotional stuff outside the building, this is what you see. This room is absolutely stunning, as well as just the artwork on the roof, on the ceiling, I should say. You've got busts and sculptures all the way along on each side of the room. Really, really impressive. Probably guessed I've taken a lot of photographs in here, but now it's time to move along and keep looking what is here in the residence. Now, I think I'm going to be doing a lot of walking in here today. Apparently there is 300 rooms to explore. I was in this room earlier, so this is the room that you come to after you finish in that main big room with those kind of ceilings like that. So you come in through that door there, then walk quite far that direction. It looks like we double back on ourselves, and now we go this way. I just noticed on each of the rooms, they actually have the number next to it. So this is room 51. So only 249 rooms to go. I do want to try and fit in as much as possible as well today. One of the things I really want to do is climb up to the top of St. Peter's Church. I've just had a look online now quickly. That closes at 4:30. It's currently 2:15. So I'm only going to spend about another hour, maximum hour and a half here if I possibly can. So I'm going to walk pretty briskly through each of the rooms, trying to take in as much as I possibly can in a short period of time. Now I've got 248 rooms to go. So I'm just looking out the window. They've got some nice gardens over there. I think over to the left there is Odeonplatz, but don't quote me on that. So that's where I finished my tour earlier. I actually walked through this gate just to have a quick look around. I think it's this one. Yeah, looks pretty good, pretty nice. But let's keep on going. These large rooms are really, really impressive. was interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that many relics in one place before. They're valuable because the room they're in is actually a safe. There was a big, thick metal door to get in there. Normally when you see relics, maybe a church might have one relic in there. Whenever you tour around historic cities and historic cathedrals and historic churches, they might have a bone belonging to some saint. But there was over 50 or 60 relics in that one room. They even had something from the Passion from the Christ. I've just done room 72, so only 228 rooms to go. Less than 200 to go. Uh-oh. Looks like there's a tour right ahead of me there. I'm going to try and overtake it. Right, so far I've done those and I'm currently here. I've still got all those areas to go. I really think I've got to step on it a little bit and kind of not pay as much attention and not read everything, because that's the problem. I'm interested in it all, so I want to read more and more about all the artifacts. Okay, I haven't filmed for a bit because it's probably a little bit boring for you guys watching me just walking from room to room to room to room. I can't really talk very much in here either, because when you're in the exhibit areas, it's not very polite to start talking to the camera. But I've just spotted some signs for the exit. I think I've cut the end part of the tour off, so lots of signs all the way around saying short tour, long tour. I have been following the long tours, but then near the end, then I decided to follow the short tour, and now signs for the exit. So I'm going to head out and kind of exploring the rest of Munich, I think. Yes. Exit. And you do go straight out back to the exterior of the building. Okay, so if you got yourself a audio guide, you need to return it back over there. Oh, actually, through here is where I started my tour around 2 hours ago. So this is where I started the tour before going in. So that was the way into the residence. So I think I did miss a few floors in the end, just so I could leave without actually spending too much time in there. So like I said, I need to see as many things as possible, and things will be closing in the next 2 hours. So I do want to go to St. Peter's Church, because I want to climb up there. I think it's €5 fee to go up there. Let's have a look where we are. Oh yeah, so here we are. Residence Theatre is right behind me. So like I was saying, I do want to head over to St. Peter's Church, climb up to the vantage point up there. Apparently it's one of the best views in the whole of Munich. Shouldn't take me too long to walk there. According to Google Maps, it should be a 7-minute walk to St. Peter's Church, so not very far. It's 0.3 of a mile away. The statue behind me here is the statue of King Maximilian. He was the person that actually developed the residence theatre area behind me. And that statue there, apparently he really didn't like it. He was a man of the people. He used to walk around the city of Munich in his plain clothes, talking to everybody. And he didn't want to be depicted as somebody who just sits down on his throne, a bit posh, a bit pointing down at people. But that was actually erected 10 years after his death by his son. And apparently him and his son didn't get on. So it might have been his son, knowing that he didn't like that particular statue, decided to erect it anyway. Let's carry on to St. Peter's Church. Looks like we got some animal rights activists protesting outside the Beluti store over there, right next to Louis Vuitton. Good for them. Okay, we're getting closer. I can see St. Peter's over those buildings there. We're back in Marienplatz where we started our Guru Walks tour this morning. There's the fish statue there. You've got the Rathaus behind me here. We're just going to head through there. It's a lot busier now than it was this morning. So here's the church. I'm going to go up there. Apparently there's a little shed outside somewhere where you pay the guy €5. He give you a ticket, then you go to the top. So I've got my ticket. I'm starting the climb. Very narrow. I believe there's 300 steps in total, and it's not a one-way system, so you will need to make way for people coming down. Starting to wish I got myself a drink before starting the climb. I think I should have been counting. I have no idea where I am. I've just taken about a 30-second break. Whew, I think I've made it. We'll look outside. I made it to the top. And that's the view. Apparently on clear days, you can see as far as the Alps. But today, it's a bit cloudy. And here we are. What a great view. So that's Marienplatz there. That's the Rathaus, where we were right at the beginning of this morning. And then when we just walked there and we came from over that area, down here, and into the church in that direction. But what a great view. And that church over there with the two spires, well, the domes on top, that's Frauenkirche. And there's actually a rule in Munich that no buildings can actually go higher than the Frauenkirche. So that's why we've got such a great view up here, because there's no skyscrapers in Munich. Everything has to be below the height of the Frauenkirche. Not much in that direction. This is definitely the best view onto Marienplatz and the Rathaus behind it there. I think that's going to be it for my time up here. It is literally just a 2-minute stop just to see the view. I'm going to walk around once and then head down those stairs again. At least it should be easier going down than it was coming up. Now that is a lot easier than coming up. Should be a lot quicker getting down. I'm back on the ground. Altogether, I was going to say that took about 10 minutes to go up, take a look around, and then come back down. And like I said, it was a lot easier to come back down than it was going up. Right, heading me in that direction is Frauenkirche, my next stop. There's another kind of protest or something going on here in Marienplatz. Don't understand the word that they're saying, but I am sure they were singing the song, Do You Know the Muffin Man, but in German. Now I can see Frauenkirche, the other end of this narrow alley. Here we are, Frauenkirche. I'm going to assume that is the way in. Now, I'm not going to be climbing up those two towers here today. You can't just buy tickets and walk up there. It has to be part of an organised group. I did see tickets online before I actually came on this trip, but I decided not to get them because I wasn't sure what was going to be my time when I actually arrived here. actually ignore what I was saying about you can only go as part of an organised group. That's what I read online, but it looks like you can buy tickets just behind me here if you want to go up in the tower. I'm still pretty tired from that previous one, so I'm not going to do that today. I also think I deserve a well-deserved drink. And what better drink to get than what Munich and Bavaria is famous for? I think you guessed it. But before I say where it is and where I'm going, let's just have a look at the Frauenkirche from the outside and look at those tall towers behind me there. Wow. So I've seen a number of places today which has got this kind of wood covering. Turns out these are where the fountains are, and they actually cover them and winterize them during winter to stop people going in there. But normally, especially in the summer, come spring, wood's removed and we have fountains in all these locations. But just look at that facade. There are the two towers. And like I was saying when I was in that observation area at St. Peter's, since 2004, there was a decree that no building in Munich can be taller than the Frauenkirche towers. And I think from memory, that is 98.5 meters. So just shy of 100 meters tall. Right, let's go and get that drink. And I'll give you a little clue where we're going. It's where we were earlier on the tour. Now that is the third Bayern Munich store that I've actually seen today. Is there enough demand to have that many football kit stores in Munich? Actually, because I'm going to be passing it, I'm going to see if I can get into the Rathaus. I'm not sure if you can or not, or if you need a ticket. But if it is free entry, I'm going to take a look around. So it looks like you do need tickets to get into the Rathaus. I've just scanned that QR code there, and it looks like it's €7. So it includes ascent of the viewing platform of the tower of the new town hall by lift, panoramic view over Munich, and free city map and 50% discount code. I think because I've already had a really good view from the other side, I'm not going to bother spending €7 to go up to the tower. It looks like you come into a courtyard area here. So I'll take a quick look around and then I'll carry on and go and get myself a drink. The building behind me here is known as the Old Town Hall or the Old Rathaus. The one we just came from then is called the New Rathaus. Ironically, this one was built after the new one. So technically that should be the new one, so it's the new old one. And as you can see, well, you might not be able to see it on the video actually, it was destroyed during the Second World War. And because they didn't have that much budget to rebuild, it's actually made of concrete. And those bricks are actually drawn on there. It's like a fresco, as you see in a place like Italy, for example. So that is a flat wall with the fresco of the bricks actually painted on there after the concrete was laid. They put a plaster on there and painted it while the plaster was still wet. Paint got absorbed into the plaster and it remained ever since. It's actually a permanent paint, so you don't need to keep repainting it after a few years. Building over there as well has something similar. It's got lines going up and down it. They're just painted on, and on one side of the line, they've actually painted it in black to make it look like it's got shadow on it, to give it that 3D effect. In fact, when you're walking around Old Town, you can tell which buildings got destroyed during the Second World War and then were rebuilt afterwards, because they're nearly all made of concrete. They've all got that flat surface, but then they've got all the bricks painted on them just to kind of give it a bit more of a traditional feel than standard concrete buildings. Anyway, I'm getting really, really thirsty. Let's carry on going. So see, this is what I mean. That's just a flat wall with these bricks painted on them. And this is the other building I was talking about. I don't know if you can see it, but those vertical lines on there, one side is painted with a narrow black line to give it that 3D effect with a bit of shadow. And now that you've noticed that, that's all you can spot when you walk past these buildings. And this is where I'm going to be getting my drink. As you probably guessed, it's the Hofbrauhaus where we were earlier. It's probably the most touristy of all the beer houses here in Munich. It's the most popular. As you saw when we were in there earlier, it was really, really busy. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit nervous. You've got to just go in. You've got to find a seat on one of those big communal tables. You go, excuse me, can I sit here? You sit down with a bunch of strangers you've never met before. You've got to wait for a waiter to come around. You order a beer, so I'm obviously going to get 1 litre beer in one of those big Stein glasses. Drink that. I'm not going to eat in there because I've got something else planned for my dinner tonight. From everything I've seen online, places I'm going to later. For schnitzel, there you go. There's a bit of a hint of where I'm going. I'm going to get a schnitzel later. And although you can get schnitzels in here, they don't look or taste as nice as the place I'm going to be going afterwards. A lot of history in here as well, which the guy didn't even touch on earlier. Upstairs in one of the many halls is where you-know-who, aka Adolf Hitler, in the 1930s used to do his meetings and his talks. And they used to be filled with thousands and thousands of people. Obviously, they don't really talk about that anymore. I wonder why, but this was a very popular place for those early 1930s rallies and talks done by him. If I can later, I'm going to see if I can go upstairs and into one of those rooms, because I am a big history buff. I do enjoy my history. Anyway, let's go in, see if I can find a table and get myself a drink. So I found somewhere to sit. It's more near the back. I've got a little bit of space. I'm sharing a table with a couple of people, but not very many. I've just placed my order. The waitress came round within a couple of minutes. This is €10.80 for a litre of beer. Let's see what it tastes like. And if you see my videos in the past, you know I'm not really a beer drinker. I don't like beer. But when I'm here, I'm in Munich, I'm in the Hofbrauhaus, I've got to order a beer. And there it is, 1 litre of beer. And just to put that into perspective, there it is against my head. I'm going to enjoy this, maybe. So I think it's time to taste this. And you can see the heads come down a little bit. Here we go. Cheers. Tastes really good. It doesn't taste very strong and very hoppy, which is the reason I don't really like beer. But that tastes really good. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to relax for a bit. Since I've got up this morning and left the hotel, I've done nothing but walk the whole day. Upstairs, downstairs, all around the city. I'm already on. Where am I on now? Let's just take a look at my watch. I've done just over 15,500 steps so far today. I'm going to sit down for a bit. I'm just going to take my time drinking this. And then when I've finished, I'm going to go for my dinner. So cheers, and I'll see you a bit later. I'll be honest, I do feel a bit of a Billy No Mates or a Marky No Mates in this case, sitting here drinking a beer by myself. I'd never do this back at home, just go to a bar, sit in the corner and drink alcohol by myself. I think when it gets to that stage, I think I need to seek some help. But I'm on holiday. I'm here for the weekend. This was one of the reasons I wanted to come, just to experience the beer hall atmosphere. When I came in then, the umpire band, I don't know what the technical term is, but I call them umpire band, wasn't playing. When I was here earlier today, when I came here as that tour, they were in there. It also doesn't seem as loud as it was earlier as well, which is pretty good. Although I think there might have been a football match going on earlier today. Now, it's just people relaxing, socializing with their friends. Yeah, it's quite a good atmosphere. Well, like I said, I'm not going to be eating here this evening. I'm going to go somewhere else. But I'll just show you the menu in case you are interested in coming to the Hofbrauhaus and ordering food. So this is the menu. They're on every table. There you go, excuse the shadow. You can pause this if you want to see what's on there. So there was a quick look at the menu. I was thinking if I was going to be here earlier, I would have also got myself a pretzel. They're quite famous for their pretzels here. But as soon as I finish here, I'm going to go and get my dinner. So I don't want to fill up on bread before I get my schnitzel. I am nearing the end of my beer now. So once I finish this, I'm going to take another look around, try and get upstairs if I can, and then head off and get my dinner. So that couple have gone now, and I've been joined by a few German friends. But I've literally just got the bottom of my beer to drink, and then I'm going to be off. So I finished drinking in Hofbrauhaus. Just near the end there, a big group of locals came and sat next to me, so we kind of shared a beer together. Even though that was only 1 litre, so that's 2 pints. And you tell I'm a bit of a lightweight. My head's just a little bit spinning at the moment. Nothing too bad. That wasn't that much to drink, really, 1 litre, but it was a big glass. The plan is now to take a look around the Hofbrauhaus. I'm going to try and get upstairs and take a look around up there to see if they've got anything about history here. And then I'm going to head off and get my dinner, because it is now just after 5 o'clock. It's starting to get dark. I think sunset was about 4:40 today, and I'm starting to get pretty hungry. That breakfast of just some cheese and ham on some bread this morning doesn't really cut it till 5 o'clock. I've had no lunch, and that's the only drink I've had so far, just 1 litre of beer. Anyway, let's take a look around, see if I can go upstairs. And I do have to point out those locals that came and sat next to me, they filled the table, but they were really friendly. The English wasn't the best, but we did try to converse a little bit. I just told them I'm here for the weekend, just to walk around, see the scenery, see Munich, and then fly home early Monday morning. Anyway, let's go back inside and have a look around and try and go upstairs. It looks like everything's kind of fenced off, so I won't be able to go upstairs to actually look at those kind of beer halls where, you know, who used to give his talks back in the 1930s. So I'm going to leave the Hofbrauhaus now and then head towards the place where I'm going to be having my dinner. It is a shame, because I would have liked to kind of see the rooms and the history behind the Hofbrauhaus. Maybe if you're here for a special event, you can actually get into those rooms, but currently they are actually fenced off. If you're a local as well and you're a regular to the Hofbrauhaus, you can actually store your Stein here. So when we were in the tour earlier, he didn't actually mention it, but I did film some of it, so I'll insert that now. Locals actually put their Steins behind a padlock. In fact, I might go over there now and just film it quickly. But yeah, they keep their Steins behind a padlock, and they also have their regular tables as well. And let's go over there now and take a quick look. Got a little souvenir stand here as well if you want to buy any merchandise. And there's the pretzel lady going past, so you can buy the pretzel from her. But if you buy a pretzel directly from the menu, it is cheaper than the pretzel lady that goes past, just for your information. So these are the Steins that I was talking about. These are for members and regulars of the Hofbrauhaus. They keep them behind a padlock. Everyone's got their individual number, and I believe they have their own reserved tables as well. Anyway, let's go and get something to eat. That looks like the Hofbrauhaus kitchen in there. I am just waiting around for a couple of minutes just to see if the umpire band starts up. They're behind me here. Getting ready to start. Let's see if they start. If they haven't done it in a couple of minutes, I'm going to head off for food. Just for reference, it is now 5:20. The umpire band haven't started yet, even though they've been sitting there for about 15 minutes. So I'm going to leave. I'm getting really, really hungry. I want my dinner. So I'm going to leave the Hofbrauhaus now and head towards the place I'm going to have my dinner. So that was a great atmosphere inside the Hofbrauhaus. Like I said, I'm not really a beer drinker, but I still enjoyed it, and the beer did taste quite nice. Loaded up Google Maps to where I want to have my dinner. It's going to be a 19-minute walk. It's 1.3 kilometers away. So let's start heading there now. Ask me what I bought in Munich. I'm going to say sausages and souvenirs. That seems to be the third protest or demonstration I've seen today. It's pretty busy here in Munich for demonstrations. Although this is the first one I've seen with a police presence. And that was by far the biggest one as well. Problem is I can't understand anything they're saying and I can't read the signs. I'm heading back through the farmer's market where I was earlier today on the tour. The majority of the stalls are now closed. Tomorrow, unfortunately, I've got other plans, so I won't be able to come back here because I would like to try some local produce and some local food. The guy did say that the food here, especially in certain locations, are really, really nice. The place I'm going to be having my dinner tonight is called Andy's Krabbler Garden. When I looked online for places to eat around Munich, it had the biggest schnitzels I have ever seen in my life. They actually filled the plate, so that's the reason I'm going there and why I didn't eat at the Hofbrauhaus. I'm really looking forward to it. If they taste as good as they look, I'm going to be a really happy man. About another 10-minute walk from where I am now. So it's out of Old Town into more, I don't know, I guess the developed area of Munich. When I looked online a few days ago, you couldn't reserve a seat, so I guess you just turn up and wait your turn to be seated. And I've got my fingers crossed it tastes good. And I've made it to Andy's Krabbler Garden. This is where I'm going to be having my dinner tonight. Just got to join the queue. So this is the menu. I'm going to go for the schnitzel with mushroom cream sauce. And I'm going to go for breadcrumbs. And I'm going to have a side dish of French fries. And I'm probably going to go for an apple strudel with vanilla sauce for dessert as well. And do I have another beer as well? That's the question. So my drink has arrived already. I've gone for a half litre of Helles. I don't know if it's Spaten or not. But the guide this morning said when you order a beer, always order Helles. That's the local speciality. He did rank the 6 beer houses in order. And Spaten, so I don't know if this is Spaten or if it's the glass it came in, was the lowest. I remember that. The Hofbrauhaus was also the 4th. So I'm going to taste it and see what it's like. Cheers. Yeah, as beers go, that's probably not one of the best. I did prefer the Hofbrauhaus. But like I said, I'm not a beer drinker. I'm only drinking beer here because I'm in Munich and in Bavaria. So where else am I going to drink? This might be a good chance to actually promote my Instagram channel. These videos normally take quite a while to edit. So you might be seeing this video around Munich a few weeks or even months after I've actually been here. So if you want to keep updated where we are, just check out my Instagram channel, which is @TravelShorts. I normally post live story updates wherever I am around the world. Here's what I've been doing today. I've been posting where I am, what I'm doing. So yeah, so if you want to check out my Instagram channel, check it out @TravelShorts. Promotional message finished. And to everybody watching as well who does follow my Instagram channel and like, comment on the post, thank you so much. That is really appreciated. And all you YouTube followers as well, that is also really appreciated. So this is my schnitzel and French fries. Just to put it into perspective, that's the size of my hand. Look at the size of that schnitzel. I'm going to enjoy this. I'm so hungry. First thing I need to do is just put a bit of lemon on there. And I think I will dip it in the mushroom sauce rather than pouring it over. So let's try this schnitzel, shall we? I'll just try it plain before dipping in the mushroom sauce. That tastes really good. Got a bit of an audience as well, because it is quite a busy restaurant. And I'm sitting next to a group of 6 people just over to my right here. So I'm not going to be able to talk too much during this. Let's call it a restaurant review, shall we? Going to try it with the mushroom sauce now. That mushroom sauce is really, really nice. Now it's time for the French fries. Really good French fries as well. I don't think you guys want to see me eating this, so I'll see you in a minute after I finish eating. So I have now put the mushroom sauce onto the plate. So I've finished my dinner in Andy's Krabbel Garden. You can see it behind me here. That tasted really, really nice. That schnitzel was enormous. In fact, it was so big, I couldn't order dessert in the end. Originally, I was planning to have a apple strudel with some cream. I just couldn't manage it. So when I did place the original order, I said, oh yeah, I'll have the schnitzel with mushroom sauce, French fries and a beer. And also for dessert, can I have the apple strudel? She said, oh, wait till you finish your dinner first and then you can order it. I'm glad she said that, because if I ordered it then and they brought it after the schnitzel, I don't know if I could have managed it, to be honest. So I'm absolutely stuffed now. Really recommended. Andy's Krabbel Garden, definitely a thumbs up. And as I've come out now, there's a bigger queue forming. So when I arrived, I was actually seated straight away. So she came to see me and she said, oh, you were one. So I said, yep, one person. So they put me on a table of two to begin with. When I stopped talking to the camera, that is because they then sat another single person next to me. So I didn't want to be filming when there's a person there. So we chatted a little bit. It was a local Munich resident. I told him why I'm here, just for here for the weekend. He's a local, nice guy, but me being an introvert, I find that pretty uncomfortable, I'll be completely honest, sitting next to somebody trying to make small talk that you don't know while you're eating your dinner. It's getting late now. What time is it? Well, I say it's late. It's 6:45, so that's not late at all, really, is it? But it is dark. I'm going to head back towards the Marienplatz, walk around a bit. I might stop at a supermarket if I can see there, buy some chocolates for a souvenir for Matthew and Holly for when I go home on Monday morning. But yeah, I'm going to head back to Marienplatz now. Actually, I can't fully remember what that actually cost, just for the food itself. With a tip, it was 28 euros. I think I gave 10% tip. So there was an option for 5, 10 and 15%. So I did the middle one. The waitress was really friendly, really nice place. But this is the actual cost if you just wanted the schnitzel and the beer. It's getting a bit cold, so I decided to put my woolly hat on. I've been carrying it around all day in my pocket, so I might as well use it. Google Maps has sent me a different way back to the Rathaus area. There's a lot of shops here that I haven't seen already. I can see St. Peter's Church in the distance. I'm currently in the Cattle Market Square. This is where we were on the tour earlier. This building behind me is known as the Lion Tower. Well, don't you see the top? There you go. The guide Brett did mention earlier, there's a number of theories what the building is. And the most outlandish, which I find very hard to believe, it was an unfinished dam. They did plan to build a dam here to flood all this area. And that was just one of the, I don't know what you call it, one of the ends of the dam. Obviously that didn't happen. Over there is the actual cattle market itself. There's a fountain as well. I don't think you can see. I think I might have filmed it earlier, but I'm not 100% sure, of some cattle. And they are in a fountain usually, but because of the weather, the fountain is all closed off. In fact, let's go across the road and take a look. So as you can see, there's some cattle here. And normally they're in the middle of a fountain, but all this wood is actually covering the fountain, like I mentioned earlier outside Frauenkirche. During winter, the Munich council cover all the fountains so nobody goes in there and freezes, or the water freezes and maybe damages the fountain. So that's all closed off with this wood covering. Anyway, let's keep walking to Marienplatz, past St. Peter's Church. So you can see it just in the distance there. Pretty close to Peter's Church now. See it lit up in the night. Looks really nice. And just a few hours ago, I was right at the top of there. which I would recommend for anybody coming to Munich, just so you got that bird's eye view of the surrounding area. And I've made it back to Marienplatz. You can see the Rathaus there lit up in the night sky. It looks really, really nice. I think I'm going to continue just walking around in the local area around Old Town before heading back to the hotel for the evening, and hopefully calling in a supermarket along the way to get some treats and some souvenirs for Matthew and Holly, my son and daughter. So I'm just going to take one last look around Marienplatz before moving on. I won't be here tomorrow, so all today was exploring the Old Town. Tomorrow I've got a couple of other places I'm going to go, not in the Old Town, but in Munich and the surrounding area. So at the beginning of the day, we watched the Glockenspiel clock from up there, and Brett, our guide, did mention that those figures are actually 1/3 of human size. And if you want to see one, or behind the glass anyway, if you go down there, he did mention that there is something or somewhere you can actually see the bottom size. So at the top, hold on, let me skip. So at the top is the noble people who are jousting. And at the bottom are the Coopers, who are the barrel makers, who are trying to... I don't know if I recorded it all actually when Brett was talking, but the Coopers are the barrel makers who try and defeat the dragon, because at the time, I don't know if it was the plague or some other illness was sweeping Munich. Everybody was staying indoors. So all the beer houses were obviously not making money. So the Coopers said, well, obviously the Coopers aren't making money either because they're not making barrels for their beer. So the Coopers came around and said, we will defeat the dragon. And can you think of the way that you can defeat a dragon? I bet you didn't guess. By dancing. So the Coopers were dancing to defeat the dragon, which was spreading the illnesses and the sickness around Munich all those hundreds of years ago. And apparently they still do that dance today as well. So I'm walking down the street. It's not the way to my hotel. I'm going to try and see if I can locate one of those Coopers statues so I can take a good look at it. But if you didn't learn anything for today, now you know that Coopers are actually a barrel maker. I never knew that before I came on this trip, and Brett told us about it earlier. So the surname Coopers, their ancestors used to make barrels. And there's another Bayern Munich store as well. How can there be so many Bayern Munich stores just in the Old Town alone? Well, I've come to the end of the road where the Rathaus is, so that is it, the Rathaus behind me here. I didn't see any Cooper statues anywhere, so I'm going to go back and head back towards my hotel, I think. Trying to walk around and see some more sights along the way. Maybe I just take a better look on the way rather than talking to the camera. I'll look in every window. So as you can see, there's a lot of shops here, which is connected to the Rathaus. Mainly clothing, Milano, Paris, London. I've seen a couple of souvenir shops as well, but I'm going to pay a bit more attention this time. Now, if I wanted to, I could just take the S-Bahn or the U-Bahn directly almost to my hotel, the Hauptbahnhof main train station here in Munich, because my hotel is right next door to it. But where's the fun in that? I'm going to walk back. I'm still going to try and explore, see as many sites, what you can call it that, along the way. But it will be not quite a direct route back, but I will wind my way around through some of the small alleyways and streets along the way. Tell you what, it is a Saturday, so I'm going to look around some of the shops, I think, starting with the Galleria. You may have seen some Lindt chocolates there in that department store. If you're interested in Lindt, stay tuned for future videos because we may be going to the Lindt factory in Switzerland, in Zurich, to be precise. Although we've been there before, we might be going there in a month's time. So subscribe if you want to see a tour around the Lindt factory. There's the Frauenkirche. at night. But I'm going to continue walking along this pedestrianised street this direction. I'm going to assume that guy's some part of a themed tour. Ooh, look at this wild boar. There's a shop across there owned by Wesley. And I'm just walking slowly back in the direction of my hotel at the moment. I'm trying to take a few side streets, see if there's anything interesting. And of course, if I go past the supermarket, I'm going to pop in, buy a few souvenirs. And when I say souvenirs, get some bars of chocolate. I don't know if that is usually here or if it's just left over from Christmas. Just through these kind of mock castle gates behind me here is Karlsplatz. There's a used U-Bahn station here as well. I'm about halfway to the hotel now, I think. It only took about, from here to my hotel this morning, took maybe about 6 or 8 minutes, so I'm pretty close. And then you can see the gates kind of thing, or portcullis, I guess, behind me here. I think I'll go in another department store to wait a bit more time. What's this one? Ubleteur. Again, don't crucify me for saying that completely wrong. Looks more like a toy shop than a department store. I'll have a look to see if they've got any jelly cats to get Holly something. Excuse the hat hair. Look at that, they've got a Sesame Street collection here. Cookie Monster, Bert or Ernie, not sure which one that is. And one of my favourites, The Count. Although I have to admit I haven't seen Sesame Street in about 35 or 40 years. Unfortunately, there was no Jellycats in there to buy my daughter Holly. I don't know if Jellycats are a thing in Germany, but whenever I see a toy shop or a department store, I will go in there, just have a look for Jellycats, because at the moment, Holly is absolutely crazy for Jellycats. Only a couple of weeks ago, we flew all the way to Dublin. Can you believe that? Just to get an exclusive Jellycat, an Irish exclusive Jellycat. Fortunately, it didn't have any in stock, so to make up for it, I had to buy a free other Jellycats. If you've seen any of my previous videos when we've gone kind of just walking around in various cities around the UK or Dublin, you'll know that currently her favourite thing is Jellycat. So I thought that looked like a toy shop. Let's have a look for a Jellycat. Unfortunately, none there. I think I am going to call it a night now. I'm going to head back over to the hotel. It's less than a 10-minute walk, probably about a 6-minute walk from here. And like I said, hopefully I'll find a supermarket along the way, grab some chocolates, maybe get a drink for the room, like just a Coke or something. But it is pretty much a straight line from here in Karlsplatz all the way to Hauptbahnhof, the train station where my hotel is. Ooh, and it's a green light, let's cross the road. I think I'm going to be riding one of those tomorrow. So I just tried to go into that DM, which I'm going to assume is a supermarket. But just as I was going through the door, the bloke literally just stopped me, actually grabbed me and said, no. So I'm going to assume it closes at 8 o'clock. It's 2 minutes to 8 now. Let's see if there's anywhere else. I am only about 100 meters away from my hotel, so I might look at Google Maps actually, see if there's a supermarket that's open after 8 o'clock in this area. It should be, because the Hauptbahnhof, or the central train station, is right by there. Apparently there's somewhere called Ernst, about 60 meters away. That's saying it's a supermarket or a grocery store anyway. Let's have a look. Now, Google Maps directed me into a hotel, the NH Hotel. But apparently the supermarket is in the basement section of the train station. So underneath the hotel. Look at that, you've got a McDonald's here. Look at this area. I'm definitely going to find something in here. And I think it's actually this here. And this is the queue. It goes down there, down the steps and back towards the exit. I think I'm going to be here for quite a while. So I just got some treats for Matthew and Holly for when I go back. I'll show you what they are when I get back to the room. And I think now I am actually going to head back to the room and head back to the hotel. It's about 8:30. Time to settle in for the night. My hotel is literally a 1-minute walk from here. In fact, I can almost see the sign from here. And this is my hotel, the Shore Hotel by Best Western. And like I said, it is right opposite the train station. And if you come here directly from the airport, the Lufthansa Express bus actually stops just right by there. So it is really convenient. And if you didn't see my travel day video from yesterday, I'll do a quick tour of the hotel room now when I go back upstairs. So it's quite a traditional hotel as well. They give you a key on this big, like, I don't know what even you'll call it, like a plunger thing. And you have to hand it in every time you go out. So there's no kind of credit cards that you just tap onto the door. The old-fashioned way, a key and a big stopper thing, keychain. So I'm back in the room. Before I do a quick tour, I'll just show you what I bought from that supermarket. Okay, I've got a selection of chocolate. So that's going to be human strawberry, a nugget, and just milk chocolate, as well as these pralines. So I've got those for Matthew and Holly. And then I've got myself a Tutti Frutti Fanta to drink in the room tonight. And if you are interested to see this room that I'm staying in over the course of 2 nights while I'm here in Munich, this is the Shore Hotel by Best Western, just opposite the Hauptbahnhof train station here in Munich, so the Munich Central train station. It's a single room and it is room 409. Here we go, let's have a quick look around. So like I said, this is room 409. Let's go into it now. It's a single room, but before I show you the bedroom part, let's go into the bathroom. So we have a shower there, sink, hairdryer, some hand wash there. We've also got some shower gel and shampoo there. Just behind the door here, we have got the toilet. Then when we go into the main part of the room, we've got some coat hooks on the wall. And just by this full-length mirror here, hello, we've got the wardrobe. Oh, that's my jacket and a t-shirt for tomorrow. Also got a pretty good size safe as well. Easy fit a laptop in there. And like I said, this is a single room, so it is quite compact, but that's reflected in the price, which I'll tell you in a moment. Single bed here. We have got a TV on the wall there. Desk, which I've just filled with everything out of my pockets now. I've just come back into the room. Fan there for when it gets warm in the summer. Chair in the corner. I'm not 100% sure what this is. It might be like an air purifier or something. I have fiddled about with it. I did fiddle about with it yesterday. But even though all this is on, it doesn't really do anything. Just take another quick look at the bed there. And then as for the view, let's open the windows. I was quite surprised this morning. The windows open literally fully. Can't do that back in the UK. They have restrictors on. But that is the Hauptbahnhof just across there. So that's the main central train station for Munich. So it's an ideal location. And if we just pan over to the right there, you can see the trains coming in as well. So that's all the tracks over there. If you look down, we've got the main road here and all the stores just below us here. But yeah, so like I said, this is a pretty good value hotel. I think I am actually paying either £60 or £62 per night. So I'll put the total price down here. That's for the 2 nights. And then just before I go home, I'm going to be staying in a different hotel right by the airport because I've got an early morning flight. And if you are interested in this hotel, I booked it via trip.com like I book pretty much all my hotels. I'm going to say about 95 to 98% of all my hotels I book via trip.com because I find them basically the best value. So the same hotels appear on hotels.com, Agoda, Expedia, etc., booking.com. Once I decide on a hotel I want, I kind of search all those regular sites and see what see basically who does the best price. And even though on, for example, booking.com, I'm the highest level you can get. So I think that's Genius level 3, which gives you like a really big discount. Trip.com usually comes out just that little bit cheaper. And every little helps, as they say. So I book it via trip.com. And if you are interested in this hotel or booking it via trip.com, I will leave a link in the description down below, or you can scan the QR code on the screen here, which will take you directly to the Shore Hotel by Best Western page on trip.com. And I actually think I'm going to finish this vlog for tonight. I'm going to grab a shower, drink my Tutti Frutti Fanta, and then try and get an early night, because I'm going to be out and about again tomorrow. Got a couple of really cool things planned. It didn't go to plan what I originally thought I was going to do tomorrow, but I'll tell you about that tomorrow. So good night, and I will see you tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. I've just been down for my breakfast. It's now time to check out my hotel and continue exploring Munich. So I've just checked out my hotel. I'm now going to head towards a tram stop, because I'm going to be catching a tram to my first location this morning. And if you saw yesterday, but just behind me there is the Lufthansa Express bus. So that's the actual bus that brought me here from Munich Airport, which is why I chose this hotel, because it's just in a great location with great transport links. You got the main Munich Hauptbahnhof, or the train station, across the road. The tram that I'm going to take this morning is just up here and on the left. And if you're wondering how I'm going to get around on public transport today, I'm using the MVV app. That's the official app of Munich public transport. It's got the directions on there, shows you which either tram or subway, underground, train to catch. And you can also purchase tickets on there as well. And this is where I'm going to get my tram from. I'm going to be the first stop, which is line 21 to Westfriedhof. Should be arriving in 3 minutes. And I'm not going to tell you why I'm going to Westfriedhof just yet. I'll let you see when I get there. Now, we're just fiddling about with the app because it's the first time I've ever used it, and I had a few issues with it getting my location. It basically works on location, so I just had to swipe on to say I was here, and then it records my journey, and then when I leave the tram, I then swipe off. But it just couldn't get my location information, so I had to go into settings and just change it to always allow. Problem was, while I was doing that, the tram came, and I just didn't want to get on there while fiddling about with it, just in case I'm caught without a ticket and then fined. So I'm waiting for the next one. It's not going to be very long. The next one is in 9 minutes. I'm going to be the next stop. I'm actually getting off a stop sooner than Westfriedhof. I'm going to get off at Stadtwerke München, and I'll show you why in a minute. Altogether, this journey took about 14-15 minutes. I have arrived. First thing I need to do now is just let the app know that I've arrived at this destination, and it will charge me for my trip. So this is my ticket. I guess I've just got to press that. And now I've just got to swipe there to end my journey. Doing the checkout process. There we go. It charged me €3.74 for that journey. Right, according to Google Maps, I just need to walk for another 2 minutes to get to my destination. And it is in that direction. And this is the reason why I'm here. It's a disused gasworks here in Munich, and I bet you're thinking, Mark, why have you brought us to a disused gasworks? What's the point in that? Well, if I insert an image now, you can see that this is a disused gasworks, but to me and many people around the world, this is best known as Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory in the 1971 Gene Wilder classic, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It's one of those places I've been wanting to come to for years, just to take a look around. It's kind of deserted now. In fact, there's a block of flats over there. But yeah, this is where Charlie Bucket and all the other kids came to have a tour around Willy Wonka's chocolate factory all those years ago. Classic movie from my childhood. That's why I've come here. It's in the middle of like a housing estate. But yeah, wow. I'm going to take a closer look now. At the beginning of the movie, you see Charlie Bucket walking along this road. And it's the first view of the factory. He's walking along the road this way. He then takes a quick look through the gates and then continues walking over to by there. So this is the view that Charlie would have. He'd walk in this direction, come to the gates. They have replaced the gates and obviously removed the Wonka sign above the gates since filming. Had a quick look through there. Then he continues walking along in this direction to here, and he looks through here at the factory. There's a clock tower behind that building there. That was built after filming was completed. So there is a clock tower behind there. But look at that. That is exactly the same kind of wood thing in this gap here that was used during the movie. Here's another look further back. I'm going to go through that gate by there and explore the courtyard area. Now, at the time of filming, this was totally different, this area here. The whole area was cobbled. It's now been converted into a municipal park area. So they ripped up all the cobblestones and replaced it with this grass. Path does exist here. That's not original. Just over by here was actually a fake facade that was built. That's where Gene Wilder, aka Willy Wonka, came out of, but that was just built for the movie and then removed afterwards. You then see him walking along a path this way over towards the gate to greet the reporters and the children with their golden ticket. First he would have walked this way, but there's now a tree in the way. He then would have started walking directly to the center of the gates. He would have been walking really slowly with his cane like that. Then his cane just stood upright. He did a forward loop and then he greeted everybody waiting by the gate. Now, before I came here today, I was actually thinking about recreating that forward somersault, but the ground is pretty wet and muddy, so I don't think I'm going to be doing that. And like I said, those gates are new. They're not the actual ones used during the production of the movie. They have been replaced since then. I don't know what happened to the originals. And above there was the Wonka sign as well. Obviously that's been removed after production. So that was it. Quick little journey to come here to the disused gasworks just to see the filming location of Willy Wonka's factory. My plans have actually changed for this afternoon. When I originally booked this trip a couple of months ago, flights, I did have a plan to just do kind of movie related things today. So after visiting here, I was then going to go to the Bavarian Film Studios, which is about an hour's journey away, to see the film set. It's where they actually filmed the interior of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory back in the 1970s. The main reason for going there, though, is they filmed The Never-Ending Story, which was a classic movie from my childhood. And the best part is, do you remember Falkor, that white flying dragon? They actually have that there, and at the end of the tour, you can sit on it and have your photograph taken. So I'm going to go there just for that reason. Unfortunately, it's closed today. So when I was looking to get tickets for it around Christmas time, so just for context, we're midway through January now. And during the Christmas break, I thought, I know I'll get all my tickets that I need ready for this trip, which was only a few weeks away. Went on the Bavarian Studios website. They still hadn't released the opening times and tickets for 2026 yet. So I was waiting. Even at the very beginning of the new year, just like 2 weeks ago, they still haven't released tickets. Then a week ago, I went back on their website so I could pre-book my ticket. And wouldn't you know, they're closed for the entire month of January. So I thought, okay, I can't go there then, which means I'll have to come back to Munich in the future, probably in the spring or the summer. But then I was wondering, what am I going to do today? I kind of fancied a more relaxing day, so I knew that yesterday I would be really busy walking around everywhere. And I just didn't fancy doing that 2 weeks in a row. Last few weekends I've been really, really busy, plus working all week. So I wanted somewhere to relax, take it easy, and basically just not do too much if I'm being honest. So looking around, I found just about a 50-minute journey away is a place called Therme Erding, which is the largest thermal spa in Europe. It's got 3 sections there. One is called the Galaxy, which is a water park, water slides, really fun. Then there is, it's called Vital Oasis, where there's some saunas, steam rooms, etc. They're the 2 areas I'm going to be going to. And because we're in Germany, in Europe, they're a bit more relaxed than I should say, as a spritz. There's also just a dedicated sauna area. I'm not going to go in that. It's known as textile free, which means you've got to be nude to go in there. And I don't think, well, not that I don't think, I know I'm not going in that section. So I'm going to enjoy the water park. I'm going to relax in the clothed saunas, steam rooms, and just sit around for the rest of the day. I'm not sure what it's going to be like for filming there. It's probably obvious I won't be able to take a GoPro around filming everywhere. Maybe I can take my phone to do shots on my phone, because I have seen people online, looks like they're using their phone to film certain areas. So I'll try and film as much as I possibly can for you guys. If not, it will be a bit of a boring video for you for the rest of the day. Like I said, I just want a bit of time to relax. I'm going to be flying home very early tomorrow night, so I've changed that hotel. So as you saw, I did check out my hotel then. I've got a hotel for tonight near the airport, just so I'm pretty close by, so I don't have to get up too early to go to the departures. I think that's it for the grounds for Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. Got to take a few photos here, then I'm going to head back either on the tram, or I think the underground is just around the corner as well, so I'll check Google Maps what's the best way back to where I just came from, which is Munich Hauptbahnhof, where I'll get the S2 train all the way to Therme Erding. See you along the way. But I'm just going to soak up the atmosphere here first and then head off. Now then, let's see if the tracking works on the camera to see if I can recreate this scene. I'm not sure if it's actually going to get me in it, but tell you what, let's put my rucksack down. Don't want that in the shot. So then we just walked over this way. Then he takes a glance in there. And he carries on walking over to here and then looks through the window. I'm not sure if that got everything in, but I'll keep my fingers crossed that it did. Right, I'm going to head back to that tram stop where I got off, but I'll be going in the opposite direction this time. I actually spent a lot longer than I planned to there. I was there about 45 minutes. Okay, on Google Maps, so tram I want will be departing in 4 minutes. And I will be heading in the direction of Karlsplatz, which is where I'll get off and then catch the S2. So this is how you get a ticket. Difficult doing it with one hand, but you just swipe to start your journey. There we go, and there's my ticket for this ride. That one's not mine, it's going in the other direction. It's going to be my journey at the moment. I'm going on the number 20 towards Karlsplatz. I ride it for 11 stops, get off at Karlsplatz, walk 2 minutes, and then wait for up to 4 minutes for the S2, which is currently delayed for 2 minutes, which is good. That gives me a bit more time to get there. And I get off at Alten Nerding, and then walk to the Therme. Or I can also get a bus as well, I'm not sure. I'll see what happens when I get there. I think I can see the tram off into the distance. So my train is no longer delayed. It's going to be departing in 3 minutes, so I don't know if I'm actually going to get it on it or not. If not, there's one in another just under 30 minutes. Right, let's find the S-Bahn. Down here. And I want platform 1. Just made it, what a bit of luck. So this journey is going to take about 45 minutes looking at Google Maps, and there's going to be 13 stops along the way. This is the first one, Marienplatz. If I had a bit more time in the station, although I had, 20 seconds in the station, I would have bought myself a drink and getting quite thirsty now. So if you are wondering where I got the ticket today for Erding, I booked that in advance via Get Your Guide. As you know, I use Get Your Guide a lot all around the world. They're a really good booking service. I will leave a link below in the description where you can get it from Get Your Guide as well. You can also scan the QR code on the screen here to go directly to that page. And if you use my promo code TravelShorts5, you'll get a discount off your purchase as well. You can only use that discount code though via the Get Your Guide app. So if you haven't got that already, again, I'll leave a link where you can directly download the Get Your Guide app to your phone and below in the description. Or there's another QR code to scan to get it as well. Look at that, there's just a little bit of snow next to the track. I do believe it was snowing here about a week ago, but it's all pretty much thawed out now. Just a few remnants surviving. I'm going to be getting off at the next stop. So I've just departed the train. I'm now got onto a bus number 527. It'd be a 4-minute journey to Erding. I was going to walk, but then I decided, because it's all included on the fare when I checked in on the MVV app, rather than walking, I think it said 17 minutes, 1.3 kilometers, I might as well get the bus right to the door. So I have just arrived at Erding. First thing I'm going to do is check out on the MVV app. So let's end my journey. And let's see how much that costs. Check out in progress. Okay, that was 14.96. That wasn't too bad considering I've been traveling for about an hour and a half in total since I left the Willy Wonka filming location. So this is Erding. It's going to be very busy by the look of it because the car park is full all the way around. There's also a multi-story car park which is full as well. So let's go inside. I'm going to rent a towel. I don't know if I'm going to be filming in there. Like I said, I probably might be able to use my phone a little bit, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to get a lay of the land first, walk around, and I'll get you guys, and I'll see you guys hopefully later. So I've been here for a few hours now. I have seen a couple of people with phones, but only when they're sitting down, like on their table, eating a meal. So I haven't been filming anything. I've just been walking around now. Went back to the locker, got my phone. What I'm going to do, I think I will probably do a voiceover about the areas here. I don't know, I feel a bit uncomfortable because there's kids around, lots of people in swimming costumes. I don't really want to be filming too much and obviously filming. Like I said, I have seen some people taking photographs with their phone and walking around, so it shouldn't be too bad. I just don't want to stand out. Look, where I am here as well, they've even got a photo spot, so I must be around to film out here without any issues. Hey everyone, Future Mark here from later this evening when I'm at my hotel. I thought this is the best time to actually sit down and record my kind of thoughts and my voiceover for Erding, because by the time I get home and by the time I come and edit this video, I might forget a few things. So what better time? Well, first of all, I say this evening, it's actually tomorrow morning now. Didn't get to the hotel, which you'll see later, till after midnight. Anyway, let's start. So I got to Erding, I checked in. So as you know, I told you about it on the journey there. I booked my tickets via Get Your Guide. So I had the QR code on my phone. I just scanned it at the reception. So that let me in, no problems. My ticket was valid for the Galaxy, which is the swimming area, and the Vital Oasis, which is kind of the thermy area, a few saunas and the relaxing kind of bit more adult area, but not the textile free area, which I mentioned on the train earlier. I then, because I didn't want to carry a towel with me from home, I rented a towel, which cost me €5, and I had to pay a deposit for that, which was €15. I got that deposit back when I left at the end of the day. So then I walked in, I went into the changing rooms, communal changing rooms, which is fair enough. All these kind of places are, and they've got individual cubicles for you to get dressed in. You had an allocated locker. So just like when I was in Thermae, Bucharest, a couple of months back, they gave you a numbered a wristband, which also had a RFID chip in. So later on, I would be paying for my food and stuff with that chip, with that wristband. But that allowed me access to my locker, which was 1,488. What I did notice in the changing rooms, though, I obviously got changed in the solo cubicles, but people were free and easy. They were men and women, just let them all hang out there, to be honest, right by their lockers. So kind of averted my eyes, put everything in my locker, then walked into the Vital Oasis. That was the first place that I actually went to. That was when I first came out of my changing area. So it looked like you had different areas of changing rooms wherever they came out. So the first thing I did, I went into the nearest pool and went to the poolside bar to get myself a drink, because I'd been on the go for a good few hours before I got there. I got myself a alcohol-free mocktail called a Strawberry Kiss. That was €8.40. Tasted really nice. I then sat down on one of the the jacuzzi areas and slowly drank that. It was really relaxing. And then even when I finished, I still just sat there for a good 5-10 minutes. When I finished my drink, I then thought, I want to start going on some of the slides. So I headed over to the Galaxy area. And to get from the Vital Oasis to the Galaxy area, you had to scan your wristband on a turnstile. I think the Galaxy tickets only are the cheapest, and you maybe have to be over 16 to go to the Vital Oasis. I'm not 100% sure of that, but my ticket combined the Vital Oasis and the Galaxy, which was allowed me to go into the two areas. So then I went into the Galaxy area, and the first thing I wanted to do was go on the slides. So I got myself a rubber ring and went straight to the very top of all the steps up there to go on the highest slide. That was really, really fun. It kept going down quite a while. So I was in a single tube, but you could also use a 3-person raft to go down that one as well. It was enclosed. It was out. It didn't have a roof at some point. Really good fun. When I got to the bottom, I went back up with my tube again, went on another tube slide, carried on quite a bit. After I finished on all the tube slides, I then just did the body slides. They had a number of body slides, some really quick, some pretty slow. But I spent at least about an hour in the Galaxy area. I then headed from the Galaxy area and went into the pool. I think it was still in the Galaxy area. And that pool actually went outside as well. So when you get outside, you obviously had the cold air, but you had the really warm water that you were in. And they had a lazy river there as well. So I went down the lazy river quite a few times. I couldn't tell you how many times, so I was just being lazy on the lazy river, going round and round. And then went back inside. I headed back over to the Vital Oasis area. And then they had a number of kind of thermal plunge pools there. One which I don't even know, because it was all in German, these particular free plunge pools that I went into. One was slight greeny water. So I went in there. They had numbers, 1, 2, and 3. First one, number 1, wasn't the green one. It was the regular one. I went in there for 10 minutes. Then I went to number 2 for 10 minutes. Then I went to number 3, which was the green one, for 10 minutes. And it must have had a lot of salt and salinity in that water, because I was just floating. And then I actually had 2 handrails each side of you. So everybody had an individual seat all the way along. So I was just outstretched, floating, holding the handrail so I didn't drift off anywhere. They also had some saunas in there as well. clothed one, so I had my swim shorts on. Obviously, that's the other area where all the saunas and textile-free area is. Not going to be talking about that today because I didn't go there. Anyway, so I went into the first sauna. I was only in there for a few minutes, and then a lady came in and gave us all ice lollies, which was very, very nice and cooling when we were in the sauna. So I stayed in there for a while, then came out, showered off, and then went into the steam room. Stayed in the steam room for a bit, and I kind of alternated a bit there, as well as going in the pool and swimming around. Then it was time for lunch. So there was plenty of food places as well, all around. Actually, no. Before I went for lunch, I went into the main pool in Galaxy. That was a huge pool. It was the size of an aircraft hangar. It was a big greenhouse, big glass roof, and you used pool noodles, so those big long kind of polystyrene foam things to float on. I had 3 of those around my back going forward and around my front going back, and I just floated in there, and I'm not joking, for about an hour. Pretty deep, way over my head. I'm going to estimate at least 8 foot, maybe 10 foot the further you went out. Every now and again the waves went on as well, so it was a wave pool. Really good fun, really relaxing. Then after that I went for my food. Like I said, there was a lot of places to eat. There's places doing pizzas, curries, pad thais, churros. There was even a Costa coffee in there. But I decided to go to, what's it called? Hofburger? You'll see it here on the video. So I went in there for my lunch, got myself a cheeseburger, fries, and a drink of Coke. And that came to, I think, 22 euros something. But there, I'll put that on the screen, the total cost of that. Sat in there for quite a while, just relaxing. I could see out the window a little bit. I think you could see the lazy river from there, and you also had a great shot of the firm Erding sign on the side of the building, which looked like a huge greenhouse. After I finished there, I then continued just going on slides, going in the pool, going in the saunas, going in the steam rooms, going in the plunge pools. And then for the majority of the day, to be honest, I found myself a really nice place to just sit and relax on a lounger. Here you go. I was just kind of closed my eyes there because I was pretty tired. I've had a busy few days, and I drifted off to sleep. I couldn't believe it. I fell asleep for a couple of hours. If anybody saw me, probably had my mouth wide open, dribbling or something. Couldn't believe it. Once I woke up, I carried on just going around. I got myself another drink. Had a second drink. I just got myself a Coke. Or third drink, I should say, and included a strawberry kiss earlier. Went on the slides again, went in the pools again, floated in that pool with the pool noodles again. Really enjoyed it. And then finally, it was due to close at 11 o'clock tonight. I left just before then, and before I stopped this voiceover now and rejoined the video when I was leaving Therme Erding. Just want to say, really enjoyed it. I think if Matthew and Holly came with me, my 2 kids, they would have loved the Galaxy area. Because it's winter as well, the only part of it is open. In the summer, the Galaxy extends outside with outside slides, loads of slides. I could just see some, which I'll insert here, but looking at the website, there's loads, absolutely loads. Oh, I forgot to insert the map. So here is the map of Therme Erding. The right-hand side is the Galaxy area. The middle bit is the Vital Oasis area. And then the left-hand side, that's the sauna, that's the textile-free area. And you see that area is absolutely huge. It must be enormous in there. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Loved it. Highly recommend it. And I'd like to come back again. One just last thing, on the way out, I just tapped my wristband so they could see everything that I purchased, my drinks, my food. and then I just had to pay for that. They actually took the €15 deposit that I had on my towel that I rented off the total in that. Anyway, that's my voiceover and review for the Therme Erding. Now let's continue this video from where I left off just as I was leaving. Oh, one more thing before I go. I'm just going to put in here, I filmed around the entrance just as I was leaving. It's a bit dark, but you can kind of see the different areas where you check in. So there's the Galaxy area, there's the Vital Oasis area, and the sauna area. Let's get back to the video. So I've just finished in Therme Erding. I'll tell you all about it when I get to the hotel. I've just had a look on Google Maps using public transport. Because it's quite late, it's now 5 to 11. Can you believe that? I'll tell you why I'm so late later when I'm at the hotel. But looking at public transport, it's going to be about an hour and 50 minutes to take me to the hotel. The hotel is right next to the airport. It's only 7 miles away. So I've decided to order myself an Uber. The cost of an Uber is going to be $34.78. I've gone for the cheap option. So it's going to take at least between 15 and 25 minutes to come and pick me up. It's still searching for a ride at the moment. Hopefully you'll find it soon. Keep you posted. Oh, it says we'll now find your ride within 9 minutes. Bus has just arrived to pick up people. But like I said, when I searched Google Maps, it'd be an hour and 53 minutes if I wanted to take public transport. So I'm still waiting for my Uber. Still waiting to confirm the trip. It's now, you can see there, 8 minutes past 11. So that is bus 527, which is the one that I took to get here earlier today. Okay, it's 11:15. The ride has just been cancelled. I'm going to try again. So I went for the wait and save option. Now I'm just going to do the as soon as possible option. Trying to locate a driver, so it's going to be 38 something now instead of the 34. P.S. Ken late, I want to go back to the hotel. Got an early morning flight tomorrow. I did have a look on Bolt as well. They are charging currently €47, so it's still a bit cheaper going by Uber. If this one gets cancelled, I'll then just take the Bolt. Need to get to the hotel. So it's now 26 minutes past 11. That Uber has kind of timed out as well. It's cancelled. It asked me to then request another one. I'm not doing that, so I've gone into Bolt. I've paid for a Bolt. It's going to get here in 14 minutes, hopefully. At least this one has confirmed. So there we go. Got another 10 minutes to go, hopefully. Driver today is going to be Hamadazaki. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Just 4 minutes to go now, so not very long to wait. It's starting to get pretty cold as well. Just looked at the weather app. -2 at the moment. Just been looking at the map as well, because I'm just zooming in and out to see where the driver is there. And there is a Best Western hotel just around the corner, 500 meters away. And it's called Best Western München Airport, so it's classed as an airport hotel. So I'd imagine they probably have transportation to take you to the airport. So if you are coming to Therme Erding and your flight is the next day, like mine, for example, it might be worth just staying at the Best Western there. You can even walk there. It said walking 7 minutes away. So that's not too far, is it, just to walk and then use their transportation to take you to the airport in the morning. Of course, there are hotels here as well. We saw those when I was doing my voiceover earlier, called Hotel Victoria. I think they were Hotel Victory. But it's really nice to stay there. Nice view of the swimming pool from your room. 3 minutes to go. Just one last look at Therme Erding before I leave. Looks like they've still got Christmas decorations out. I think this is going to be my taxi now. So I've checked in. I'm staying in room 444 here at the Novotel München Airport. Would you like to have a quick tour of the room? Of course you would. So let's get in. So as soon as you enter, looks like this is an adjoining room, so I'm just going to be quiet in case there's anybody sleeping that side. But we've got a full-length mirror. Hello. Through this door on the left-hand side here is the toilet, separate area for the toilet. You've got a clothes rail here, so I'll put my jacket on there already. My bag. We've got in here. We've got a safe. Plenty of space there for a laptop. And we've got a fridge in there. And in this room here, we have got the shower. Really big shower. Quite impressive. Very modern looking in here as well. The basin. We've got some hand and body lotion and some hand wash. Light up mirror there. So again, here we have got a hairdryer and some tissues. And then in the shower, we have got some conditioner, some shampoo, and some shower gel. And a big shower head as well up there. Like I said, plenty of space in there. Then this is the main room. Really big TV on the wall. It's a twin. So we've got 2 single beds in here. Looks really nice. Quite impressed by the hotel actually. And let's have a look at the view. Haven't looked out here yet. It's too dark. Now I can't see anything. Can't see anything there. So here's another look at the room. And like most things, if you're wondering where I actually booked this hotel, it's trip.com. That's a surprise, isn't it? As you know, if you watch any of my videos, I pretty much all our hotels are booked via trip.com. I'm going to say 95 to 98% chance that they're on trip.com. I prefer them over all the usual places like booking.com, hotels.com, Agoda, Expedia, because they're just slightly cheaper. You know, not majorly, but every little helps. If you are interested in staying in this hotel, I will leave a link down below there to trip.com's website for this hotel, or you can scan the QR code on the screen here, take you directly to that webpage as well. I just want to point out as well, the guy on reception was really, really friendly. It's after midnight now, so I said, "Oh, are you doing food?" And he said, "No, we have finished food." But they did have some sandwiches and some pizzas in like the little shop there, and you can buy a pizza and put it in the oven. It's a bit too late for a pizza. I want to go to bed, being honest. I didn't quite fancy a sandwich. So he just gave me a couple of apples. So I thought that was very nice of him. Thank you, Mr. Reception Guy, for doing that. Anyway, that was a quick tour of the room. I hope you enjoyed looking around. And if you're interested in it, link down in the description. Just before I sign off at the end of this video, I think I'm going to come back to Munich again. I really enjoyed it there yesterday. Still so much more to see that I just wasn't able to cram into this weekend away. Following on from this morning, I really want to go to that Bavaria Film Studios to ride on Falkor from Neverending Story. So watch this space. I'm probably going to be coming to Munich again from anytime from late February onwards, because that's when the film studio opened. I'll have to look for some more cheap flights. Again, to come here, it was less than £50 return. I think it might have been 30-something pound return. Can't remember fully. I booked it a couple of months ago. But yeah, really enjoyed my time in Munich. And I think I'm going to end this video here. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. It's really appreciated. If you're new here, my name is Mark, and usually I make these videos with my son Matthew and daughter Holly, but this was a solo trip, and we do travel and theme park videos around the world. And if you enjoyed what you see, please think about liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.